Kaja Israel, Kaba Egypt, Kaja Ethiopia, Kaja Sudan, Waja Shong. Kaja Ikushima, you know, Wanime Kona, me Waja Shong. So Timbuktu, Ghana, Mali, Sumanguru, you know, Waja Shong. Waja Jake, Waja Shong. Manchester, you know, Sumanguru, you know, walk where they get, what you show. What's that to do, you know, Ramasa, you know, Yasan, you know, what you show. Get Israel, Kaba Egypt, get Ethiopia, get Sudan, what you show. Aquaka, Bajimo, 1 year, I for Karacha, I get you 1 year, and in young fang. Aquaka, Bajimo, 1 year, I for Karacha. I get you 1 year, I'm a young thing. I'm a Caminian Matu, I'm a Caonian Motu, I'm a Caonian Watumo. I'm a Caminian Matu, I'm a Caonian Motu, I'm a Caonian Watumo. I'm a Caonian Watumo, we not a catch him over Waka Wabanya. Can you change Sanya Mabama? Can you change Sanya Mabama? Can you change Sama? Can you know? Can you change Sanya Mabama? You Mabama.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this evening's edition of the Ghanaian Community Awareness Forum. As always, my name remains Emmanuel Kwesi, the chairman of Ghana Union, UK and Ireland. Tonight, we are here to discuss an important topic. As always, we bring you good things, good topic, good areas where to help you, your families and loved ones to stay safe in the midst of all the things that are happening around the world. Our job is to bring you the information, give you more information, make you aware, and make it available to you so that you can make the right decisions and choices around your family life. This evening, we are going to treat an important topic about online security, information, and inclusion. This is a key area that most of us probably take for granted, but it's important that we all have an understanding of what we can do to safeguard our family and our loved ones when they are online. And in fact, including some of us who are matured enough, we find ourselves compromised in many ways. A few rules, as I've already said, my audience, welcome to this evening. This program is brought to you in partnership with the Ghana Union, UK and Ireland, the Ghana Nurses Association, UK, the Western Region Association of Nurses, UK, and the Ghanaian Nightingale Nurses Association, UK. It is being supported by the Ghana High Commission, UK, Omega Live Television, and IT Consortiums, bringing this program to you live wherever you are on Facebook, YouTube, and obviously on Zoom as we are. While you're on Zoom, please mute yourself, or where possible, we are going to meet you throughout the session until we get to the Q&A, where you will have the chance to unmute yourself. If you have any questions, please say your name, and where possible, let's see your face so we know who we are interacting with. Questions using the Zoom chat icon and to raise your hand so that when it's time, we will call you. And where possible, go straight to the point. Don't give us background stories. We try to go straight to the point so that everybody will have a chance to ask a question if necessary. One question at a time, please. And that is a few rules that I may have to make you aware. You will not have the right to share your screen unless you are a co-host, in this case, the panelist. So welcome once again to this evening's edition of the Ghanaian Community Awareness Forum. This evening, we have some experts within the field of IT, online technology, and they are here to give us information, load us with all the knowledge that we will need to keep ourselves going as we continue to serve the internet and all the other social media platforms. My guests tonight, my audience tonight are assembled, and I will go straight to the panelists, please. We have two panelists today. Our first panelist is currently the Chief Technology Officer of IT Consortium. He's a software engineer with expertise in hardware and network systems. With over 24 years experience in developing and implementing systems and with an in-depth understanding of the ever-changing needs of clients, he has over the period strategically provided total solutions that meet the requirement of our customers and presided over the development and enhancement of new product and service for the company. That is the IT Consortium. He oversees the development and implementation of all solutions at IT Consortium. But prior to joining the IT Consortium in 2000, he was an administrator at Men's Development House, where he successfully managed the setting up and running of the company, developed all hardware and software products, introduced an innovative product into the Ghanaian market, promoted product through mail, radio, television, and provided first practical solutions for student information management in senior high schools. With a passion for nurturing and empowering both young and adult minds to thrive in the field of technology, he has been a resource in numerous workshops and training programs on science, technology, and mathematics education for girls for the Ghana Education Service. Also, AFLIS Country Project, Science and Technology in Action in Ghana, STAG, and at the University of Cape Coast. He holds a diploma in education, a Bachelor of Arts degree in social science, both from the University of Cape Coast, and a Master of Business Administration and Management Information Systems from the University of Ghana. Distinguished audience this evening, please join me welcoming Mr. Ebo Anamoah-Mensah to this evening's forum. Uncle Ebo, welcome and good evening to you. Thank you for taking time to join us. We are pleased to have you, and I'm sure you do us a lot of good with your presentation. Our second panelist this evening, by no means, has over 20 years experience in IT systems development and implementation, including project design, development, configuration, and management systems, and network infrastructure security architecture, as well as software development, among others. He is currently the Chief Information Security and AML Officer of IT Consortium and has been with the company since 1999. He's also a lead implementer in the ISO 27001 Information Security Management System Certificate Program for industries. He's a security architect and specializes in enterprise infrastructure and application security, ethical hacking, and cybersecurity. He's also a lecturer in Ashesi University, Ghana, and has been involved in the design and implementation of technologies in varied fields of endeavor, including but not limited to telecommunications, health and education sectors. He's a Red Hat certified engineer, a security operations center analyst, and certified ethical hacker. Distinguished audience, please join me welcoming Mr. Ebenezer Ato-Yolson to the evening's forum. Mr. Yolson, thank you for joining us.
Hi.
Thank you very much for being with us. And so at this point, we will go straight to panelist presentation, where our first panelist, Mr. Ebo Anamoah-Mensah, will seek to address areas around financial inclusion, how to, all the information around there. Mr. Ebo will take us through, and then Mr. Yolson will take us through issues around online safety and security. So, Uncle Ebo, please, the forum is yours now, and we count on your expertise at this point to take us further. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good evening to your guests. Today, my job is really simple. As part of financial inclusion, I'm going to talk about a product our company developed that we'll be launching next week, and it enables everyone both in Ghana and abroad participate in the financial sector as we have it. In a way they're already doing, but now doing it on an electronic platform. So I'll start my presentation. It's not a very long presentation. But when I get to the end, then if there are any questions, I'll take there. So for us human beings, since from the time we're children, and as we grow up, we like to bond, we like to be social, we like to interact with others, and we want to connect. And you see that with connection with our families, with our friends or mates in school. And we tend to form groups. And these groups or social groups in today's world, with all the technology that we have, is now being organized in apps. So I'm sure everybody here is probably on WhatsApp or Facebook, Signal, or using Telegram. And everyone has some groups of people they interact with for various reasons. The interactions happen on a mobile device, happen on a computer, even on your watch. And this enables you to keep in touch with people irrespective of which part of the world they are located. So it doesn't matter if they are in Ghana or in Japan or in London. It's possible for us to keep in touch. And so these groups facilitate various purposes for its members. And some of them are using them for productive activities, others purely social, just to keep in touch with families, so on and so forth, or to plan an event or a program. Now, these various goals of the groups tend to have just the social, and some have financial aspects to it. So my group with my family members, for instance, is meant to be social, but once in a while, we get together to have some financial goals. And I believe everyone has experienced that. Now, those financial goals are what we are looking at with this platform. And traditionally, what happens when a group decides to put money together for a purpose is either they collect the money manually or electronically and using various mediums. Maybe money is being remitted from one country to another, where there's mobile money that is utilized, and where there's cash is collected. In Ghana here, we have, as you'll be familiar with, we have something called Susu, and they will usually have a box they keep the money in, and with 2 padlocks so that 2 administrators can control when money is put in and taken out. It's now become more common for people to use mobile wallets. So if you're putting money together, everybody just sends the money to one person, and that person collates it and then provides it for the purpose for which it was collected in the first place. But there are some challenges with that, and I'm sure you're aware of that. There are integrity issues with whoever might be collecting it. And you can imagine this gets mixed up with their own finances, especially if they are using their mobile wallets. They use their mobile wallets for their own payments to receive funds, as well as the funds of maybe the community being received to pay for maybe security in the neighborhood. And so some of that money can be misapplied. And obviously, once it's in an environment like that, there's hardly any transparency. And I know I've sent money to the group, but I don't really know how much the group has collected. Even where they are providing accounting, you can't be 100% sure of the information that's provided. And in that case, for the members of the group, there's little or no control over the funds or the processes to either take some of those funds out and use for a purpose. Now, it's in the light of this that we designed a platform, and we call that Chango. Now, where Chango sits is providing both the social and financial needs of its users. So the different kinds of groups I talked about before, whether they are school groups or families or even work groups, these various groups can be organized on Chango, and their financial goals can be set up, monitored, and managed on the platform. And I would just walk us through how that works so that we get that clear. So for Chango, it's an app. If you go to the website, changoapp.com, you'll have the links to the apps in the App Store. That is the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. And you download the app, Chango app. Once you've downloaded it and you signed up, you then link your bank accounts to the app. In this part of the world, you would link your mobile wallet as well to the app. You can link your mobile wallet or your card. Most likely, if you're in Europe, it's just your card you are linking to the app. Now, once you've done this, then you can go ahead and create a group. Now, our groups are country specific. So in Ghana here, you can create a group in Ghana from anywhere in the world. And that means that the funds in the group reside in Ghana. If you create a group in Kenya, then the funds for that group resides in Kenya, so on and so forth. And the group you create on the app is what we call a private group. That means that no one can join the group unless they are invited to the group. And anyone who's invited to the group is required to accept the invitation before they can join the group. So just like joining a group on WhatsApp, it's as simple as that. So once you've set up the group, then you get your members sending them invitations or sending them a link to the group, and then they join. So in the app, you get to see all those that have joined the group, and you can set roles for each of the members, whether the person is a regular member or is an administrator of the group, or in some cases is an authorizer for members who may want to borrow from the group. Now, once a group is created, members can now begin to contribute into the group. Now, contribution can be done from anywhere in the world. And when you're making a contribution, you can decide to be identified, meaning that your name would appear as the person making a contribution of X amount, let's say 100 cedis, or anonymous. Then your name doesn't show up, so nobody knows that the contribution you made, but there's a contribution. And in your records, you can see that you've made a contribution. So you alone know what contribution you made. You could also, any member can contribute on behalf of another member. And so if for some reason a member can't contribute, another can contribute on behalf of that member. So if this was a group where we're paying dues and someone was in a particular month, didn't have the funds to, and another member wanted to contribute on their behalf, that's possible. On Chango, it's also possible to create an automatic recurring contribution. So if this is a group where you make recurring contribution, instead of doing this every week or every month, you set it once, just like a standing order, and it automatically debits your account and credits the group with the funds that you want to make available to it. So contribution, again, is using the methods I mentioned before, either card or mobile money. And the contributions instantly go to credit the account of that group. And like I mentioned, in the country that group belongs to. So in this case, Ghana. Now, once the group has collected the funds they want to, and let's say these funds were being collected to pay someone's fees. And when the group is ready to take funds, some of the funds or all the funds out, the members will be required to vote to agree to send the money out. Now, I mentioned before that members of a group have to agree to join the group. So during the process of joining the group, the system will tell you what the policy of the group is, what the cash out policy of the group is. So in creating the group, you can specify a cash out policy of 25%, which means that 25% of the members of the group must agree to the request to cash out before it will happen, or 50, 75, 100, or a custom setting based on what your group does. So this policy is what governs the movement of funds out of the group. If one person votes against cashing out, then the whole process stops and it has to be started again. So this creates the transparency needed by every member. Once a cash out is initiated, every member gets a notification. So it can be done in secret. Everyone knows that there's a cash out and they can then go and vote for, or if they're against it, vote against it. Now, cash out is done to a bank account or mobile wallet, meaning that the funds can be deposited into a bank account of the beneficiary. And the beneficiary may not be a member of the group. It could be a third party. If this was a group we created to collect money to give to one of our workmates who's about to have his wedding, then we would specify his mobile wallet number or his bank account as the destination for the funds. And the system keeps a record of all these. So you can always go back and see where funds were sent to. And this is information that's available to all the members of the group. So within the private group, it is managed by the members of the group. They are the ones who police the activities of the group and decide what they want to do. There's no external influence at all. Now, on the flip side, we have a crowdfunding component that enables certain organizations set up what we call a public group to make it available to the entire population of Chango users. So this one doesn't require an invite. Any Chango user can see that group and contribute to them. Or anyone outside of Chango can also be invited to contribute. And this is targeted at government agencies, NGOs, and other organizations that seek to get funds from the public. And settlement to that is done directly to a bank. And the settlement for this kind of group is handled by a bank. So in Ghana today, we're using this for a number of social events like Save a Heart, which is an initiative we started with the Cardiothoracic Center at Kolobu, where we're trying to raise funds to pay for the operation needed by children who have hole in hearts. We believe that we can have every Ghanaian child who needs such an operation have it paid 100%. And so we're getting rallying the entire country to contribute. And recently there were some floods at Kita South, and we're also raising funds so that we can help those who have been displaced by the flood. And that's how that group is used. Now, because we want to open this up to not just Chango users, but anybody in the world who wants to contribute to such a cause, Chango has a website where the general public can go to and make contributions to these public groups, not to the private groups I talked about earlier, but specifically to these public groups. And we also have a USSD interface to enable those who are not using smartphones to still be able to access Chango on the simple USSD interface and also make contributions to specific public groups. So let me go through a few use cases so that you can see how Chango can be used. So the first one is a family that wants to put money together to pay the children's school fees, especially if one parent is abroad. And this is quite common here. You might have one parent working abroad and the other in Ghana here. And they will usually have to either remit money for the payment of fees, or they would have to send it through someone. But both parents can actually be contributing to a group they create, funds maybe on a monthly basis or weekly basis, whatever they choose. And when it's time to pay the fees, they simply initiate a cash out, specify the account of the school, and once the other party approves, those funds goes directly to the school's account with the necessary narration so they know that it's for your child. Another example is family planning a funeral. And I guess we are too well accustomed with this. And once we hear of something like this, people rally to contribute money to the bereaved family so that they can pay for some of the bills of preparing for the funeral. And this is one thing Chango is well placed to do, because now the family members are able to have a way by which they can reach their loved ones to make the contributions, and directly from Chango for each of the expenses they need to make, either paying for the coffin or paying for the venue. They can all be done directly from Chango without going to a third party app to execute it, or without even cashing the money as cash before performing those payments. It could be siblings who live all over the world and periodically contribute money to renovate the family house. Chango, we have a number of families using Chango for this particular purpose. I, for one, have a family with some living abroad in the US and some in Ghana. And so this makes it extremely easy, because when we decide today to contribute money, once everybody has finished, the money is immediately available here, and we are able to use it for the purpose for which we set it. So another example, friends putting money together to help a bereaved a friend or family member, and we see that happen in the company a lot. And the same thing can be done with weddings or baby showers. Friends just coming together, creating a group, collecting money, and then pushing those funds or cashing out those funds to those specific beneficiaries. And old school groups are something that is big here. We are required to do periodic or monthly contributions, as well as projects that need to be done in the school, where we're soliciting funds from the student group for that year. And usually, I believe every year group has its members scattered all around the world. I'm told that there's no continent where Ghanaians are not. And so this makes it extremely easy to collect the funds from all over the world to a single group here in Ghana. And then when the funds are being cashed out to go and use it for the project, everyone has visibility. And so there's transparency there. And for NGOs who are soliciting donations for works in communities, this makes it extremely easy for them to do that, much, much easier than the alternative routes that exist, usually with apps that are not in Africa. And so those funds have to be transferred after they have collected. Now with Chango, once they set up a campaign to collect funds, they have access to that right here and don't have to worry about transferring money from abroad. And what we are so commonly, what happens commonly is people who are looking for money for operations. And we see this adverts of these on our radio stations. We see it at the roadside, just like the Safe Heart project we're doing with Kolobu. There are other people who are looking for funds for operations. Today I heard the IGP talking about policemen who were bedridden for years simply because they couldn't raise funds to get a critical operation from an injury they got when they went on operation. And he was looking at getting a fund to be able to support such policemen. And so Chango is positioned to do that. And in some cases, we have a group on Chango that is raising debt for supporting startups. And that's a very interesting use case that Chango makes possible because of its public group that enables anyone who's whether in Chango or outside of Chango to be able to contribute to the group. Now, Chango is approved by the Central Bank of Ghana, and this is important to us because our users must be comfortable that their funds are not being collected by an organization that is not accredited or is not being monitored by the central bank. And so this is approved by the central bank, and we are operating within the rules by which the central bank has given us to run this. So with Chango, we started in Ghana, Africa, and Kenya, and we expect to get to all the countries in all the states in Africa and move out to the world. And by that, what I mean is that we would have groups that can be created in all these countries so that irrespective of where you are, you can be sitting in London and create a group there and be soliciting funds from even Africa to support projects or programs in Europe. It's happening today in Emmanuel, where Chango is positioned to do that. So I'd like to invite you to go to the website, download Chango for yourself, try it with your family back home, and see how it changes the way you manage your group funds and be able to have the transparency and control that you deserve to have over the funds that you are all contributing to make Ghana and your families better. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Mr. Bomenson. Thank you. We will go straight to the second panelist, and I'm sure there will be questions that will come your way as how Chango, the information around Chango, how much is needed to be able to create a platform, what are the personal details that need to go in, how does that interfere with the existing platform that people have, and all those things I'm sure will come up. But I will now revert to our brother, Mr. Atiosin, who will take us through online security and safety. How can we be safe when we are online? What are the areas we need to look out for? What are the things that we need to know when we give these 5 nice smartphones to our children? What are the things that we need to be aware? I hope you can help us to understand some of these basic areas. Please take over.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kwesi. Good evening, everyone.
Yes.
So over the years, we've learned that most of the things we do, most of the gadgets we work with have 90% of the things that we do not use. And most of these applications, even as mature and as adults, we use just a little percentage of the devices that we own. We've also studied and understood that most of us go to work and we are inundated with security protocols, the things we have to do day in, day out to keep our work secure, to keep our devices secure. And we find out that we are not so much into those things, but it's because we are forced to do them that we do them. We've realized that approaching security from the standpoint of our personal interactions actually goes to inform the way we behave in our corporate worlds, in our offices, in our jobs, in the things we do around. Because when it affects us personally, then we are able to take the action that we need. So I'll be speaking about 10 tips that can guide us secure our children online, who are now mostly faced with a barrage of online activities, a barrage of online programs, and they are layered into areas that we have no idea about. So I'll be going through 10 tips that will guide us secure the devices we use and also secure the time they spend online. I will start by showing us a short clip of how the cyber world, how the social world on the internet affects us. So please, if you can show the clip, yes.
It was 2 years ago when our team intercepted conversations between a 12-year-old girl and a 40-year-old pedophile. He wasn't just talking to her, he was abusing her, coercing her, collecting images and videos, and no one in her life, her parents, sixth grade teacher, or friends, knew what was happening. I have a sixth grader of my own. I have 3 kids, actually, but you don't have to be a parent to be devastated by this. I work for a tech company that uses artificial intelligence to detect issues like grooming and sexual predation, and this is something we see constantly. These abuses are occurring quietly and mostly go unreported, and we want parents to know exactly what we know about what happens online. So we made a plan.
A man has been arrested for allegedly raping a 15-year-old that he met over Snapchat.
Instagram has become the #1 social media site.
TikTok is at the top of the free download
We've also
chart.
seen firsthand the predatory symbiotic relationship that exists between Instagram and Snapchat.
We would create a fictitious 15-year-old girl, complete with a believable social media identity, put her online, and document how long it would take for a predator to approach her. But creating a person out of thin air is complicated. We needed photos, but we knew we couldn't use an actual teenager. It would have to be someone on our team. I'm 37, but our graphic designers assured me that with the wonders of photo manipulation, they could magically make me look over 2 decades younger. We bought clothes and accessories, studied body language and facial expressions. We methodically covered and edited signs of aging, wrinkles, weight shifts, and stretch marks. Meanwhile, we coordinated with federal, state, and local law enforcement. Then we built a story around her, a history, a family, a social circle. Libby was born in 2004 and is a sophomore who recently moved to Indiana. We created multiple online accounts for Libby, prominently displayed her age, and posted typical teen content. We even created virtual friends for Libby who would comment on her posts. With everything in place, we would launch the project, give it a few months, and see if anyone would buy it. So we hit the button, and Libby went live. Within the first hour of posting on Libby's accounts, 7 adult men contacted her. By the end of 9 days, that number was 92. The conversations ranged in severity from making sexual comments to sharing and requesting explicit photos and videos to manipulation and threats. The onslaught was so massive, it took 5 of us playing Libby full-time to keep up. We decided to move off-site where we could scale up the operation and gather as much information and evidence as possible. Since Libby is 15, men might try to falsely justify their actions towards her because of her proximity to adulthood. Would parents question, where's the bar? Would a 13-year-old face the same barrage of predators? A 12-year-old? How young could it possibly go? The graphics team transformed me into 11-year-old Bailey. Bailey is afraid of the dark. She hasn't had her first crush yet. She's still prepubescent. A parent might assume Bailey would be insulated from any sort of predatory attack. We launched our 11-year-old persona online.
444 and go. One like from a guy whose profile photo is a penis.
So let's say 1 minute and 7 seconds. We have a message request.
Although sorry, 2 more requests just came in. How much time? 1 minute and 40 seconds?
Yeah. How old are you? You go to the profile, you know that is a child. It also says in the profile that the child is in 6th grade.
Another one.
It's just lighting up, like the inbox is just boom, 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 boom.
An incoming video call in less than 5 minutes.
I can't see you. Don't be shy.
They all say don't be shy.
Few parents know just how dangerous these platforms are for so many kids, so we brought some on site so they could see for themselves. 11-year-old Bailey's persona was approached with an even more disturbing level of manipulation and requests. While the majority of the abuse happened from a distance, our child profiles also received requests to meet up in person, especially our 15-year-old persona. 28-year-old Keith was relentless. Like the others, he took no issue with Libby's age. He shared explicit videos of himself. He treated the virginity of an underage girl as a prize to be stolen. It was a tough decision, but if Keith wanted to meet Libby in person, we would let him. We synced up with our law enforcement contacts, and within 24 hours, we were on the ground and ready to meet. We already had evidence of what he had done online, but was he willing to carry things out in real life? We knew 37-year-old me attempting to pass for 15-year-old Libby would be a challenge. But I would wear a hat, a lot of makeup, and a big sweatshirt, and see if he showed up.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good.
Okay. Is it what you expected?
Well, yeah.
So you going upstairs?
Wait, so do you want to go for a walk first?
Okay, what's wrong? Why you're not trying to rush upstairs?
What was that?
Why you're not trying to rush upstairs?
I don't know, I'm a little nervous.
Now let's go upstairs then, don't be nervous.
I've never done anything like this before, so I'm a little nervous.
It's the first for everything.
Yeah.
Don't be. I'm not gonna rush you. We just go upstairs and talk.
Okay. Have you ever...
Be shy.
Are you okay with me being 15?
I've never done it.
Oh.
But it's okay. I like to gentle, make you comfortable. I don't want to just get hurt feelings. You know what I'm what I'm saying?
Are you hungry?
I'm trying to dodge it.
Cyber tips coming in from the National Center for Missing and Exploited.
BARC turns over these potential child predators to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Using the app has led to arrests like this one in Florida last year.
The brutal reality is that a predator doesn't have to be in the same room, building, or even country to abuse a child. Libby and Bailey may not be real, but they represent countless children who are being sexually and psychologically abused, both online and in real life. I think about how I would have felt as a young, impressionable child. I would have kept the abuses to myself for fear of being shamed and blamed. I would have suffered with it, secretly and quietly.
Hi, Mama. Hi, did you have a good day?
Yeah. Can I use my phone?
Yeah.
I was wondering, so in 2 more days you're gonna come back?
That's right.
Okay. I love you.
I love you too.
Our work has led to numerous arrests, but it's a drop in the bucket. Our work, nor the work of law enforcement or legislation, will ever be able to protect children as well as engaged parents and guardians can. When asked, my advice for parents is to talk to your kids early and often, know what apps they're using and with whom they're communicating. When facing crisis, kids need a soft place to land. Make sure they know they can come to you for help.
Okay, thank you. We saw the sort of onslaught our kids or generally internet users go through. It took about just 1 minute and 7 seconds for these attacks to begin. At the Windows level, Macintosh level, once you open your new Mac or you open your new Windows computer, get it up online. Once it's connected, the scans, the attacks begin. I'm going to share my screen now with the presentation I prepared for this, so that we see how best we can guide our kids online. There are 10 tips I'm going to give, and it generally runs from how we communicate with them, how we create the boundaries of the things they can do, and also have confidence in them and also entrust them with the responsibility of the things they do online. And basically, we should make them understand that whatever is happening online is actually real. The internet, we all know, is not a virtual world. There are systems, physical, real systems that are working. There are people who are working with these things, and there are people who control how things happen online. And then most of all, if we can come to some sort of an understanding and agreement with them as the do's and don'ts of the things they use. If it comes to social networking, there are a lot of applications, some that allow them to go through anonymous polls and compete with their friends, ranging from their haircuts, the type of clothes they wear, how their bodies look. And it's all done anonymously. But what they also don't understand is that all the things they exchange is actually being kept somewhere. The internet has a digital exhaust fumes that never goes away. Whatever you do online stays online. And you think you've erased it, you've scrapped it, but there are tips, there are things that people can pull up. So we need to guide them and advise them as to how well they can use these devices when we get them for them. Now, the most important thing to do is to have a chat with your children. It's very easy to be furious when you initially find out that they are doing things that they are not supposed to do, or they are visiting sites that they are not supposed to visit, or they are using the device you bought for them in doing things that they are not supposed to do. Your initial interaction with them when you find this thing out is very key. As furious as you are within, they should know that you are not happy with what has happened, and you are not very comfortable with what is going on, and you explicitly must state that. But most of all, as you open the doors for communication, you should ensure that you don't shut them off by the things you say or the things you do when these things happen. The general rule we say is to be curious and not be furious. Talk to them about the things doing, the sort of technologies, because believe it or not, they are exposed to technologies that is far ahead of what you know. And day in, day out, when they meet friends, when they go to other places, they know things that you know very little about. And they explore, and they have much time to explore these things much better than you do. So it's a learning experience for you. At the same time, you are in control, and through communication, you are trying to learn some of these things from them. So as you open up, as they explain what these things do, what applications do, you ask the right questions, put up sample questions, like how do you find videos, profile games you like online? Because some are online almost all the time playing games, and their concentration when playing games cannot be interrupted, no matter how hard you try. Your option is to sit with them and try to understand the sort of games they are playing. And you can further research on how secure the things they interact with are. And based on that, you can advise them. The next thing is also to have a sense of the applications they have, the sense of apps they have on their phones. You can begin by taking screenshots of the apps they have. It's a sort of trying to understand and trying to know when they add new applications. Some of us give the devices to them and then we leave them up to it. But it's not like we are policing, we just want to know what is happening. And when you find new applications on them, try and understand what those new applications do. For all you know, those new applications might even be helping you in something you are working with. So from time to time, review the apps they use and check if there are any changes. If there are changes, try to understand why those changes are there. If it might be apps that they are using in school to help them in their work, the school work or anything. But try to understand that and let them explain the changes to you. What you have to also keep in mind that you got them the devices. We got them the devices. And we have all the power over those devices. But the way we do it matters. The way we command control by those devices matter. So let's start by opening the doors for communication. Further, look at the apps that they use on those devices, and check if there are any changes. Let them explain those changes to you. Most of what I mentioned earlier, we need to set boundaries. What we've realized over time is that kids follow rules. If there is a regimen set up for them, they are used to it. And as they grow, they leave some behind, but they are stuck with a sort of routine that is ingrained in them. As much as we educate them and as such as we guide them, we should as well set boundaries. We should let them know when to use the devices, where to use those devices, the duration that they need to use the devices for. We should set those boundaries. And I think further discussions become easier. All the devices we have today, all the major platforms, iOS from Apple, the Android from Google, and the other derivatives, all have tools in them to guide us in specifying the screen time and also changing option, putting into place some parental controls. I'll share some resources at the end of the presentation that will help us do some of these things. Most of all, you also need to explain the risks involved when interacting with some of these applications. Like I said earlier, virtual is real. They need to know the effect on them when they spend so much time online. They need to understand that if they are using Facebook, if they are using Twitter, if they are using Instagram, there are reporting channels of abuse that they need to be aware of, that if they find anything uncomfortable, if they find anything that is in a way affecting their life or their whole being as they use, you need to point them to the channels. Most importantly, they need to know that there is always a place that they can return to. There is always someone they can talk to. You need to build that trust with them as we do in trying to bring them up, so that no matter what happens, they are opened up to speak to you about things that is happening around them and things that is happening online. As we guide them to be responsible people, we also tell them that the virtual world is also a real world, and that things they post actually affect real people. We need to also advise them to be responsible when they are communicating with their friends, their peers, adults, and the people they come into contact with whilst online. They need to know that they also need to also check the things they receive to know whether it's the truth or not. They need to know when to share the things they receive. Some of us receive stuff on WhatsApp and our immediate action is just to share it to a group that we are in. And later we get to find out that the source of that information or that material is not even factual. There's no truth behind it. With this advent of fake news and all, we should be careful the things we share online, the things we distribute, because we can, even if it is very malicious and it might lead to litigation and other legal issues, it can be tracked down way to us once we've shared it on the platform. So let's decide, let's make a conscious effort to decide on what we share, and also get the kids to understand that whatever they share affects real people. It's not only virtual. And we should choose the people we decide to share things with. And we should also decide whether it's factual, it's right to share those things with them as well. We should be supportive and also be a source of confidence for them to come to. Like I said earlier, they should know that there is a base, there is a foundation, there is a source where they can draw strength from when they are disturbed online, or when they go to school and they have peer pressure to do stuff. They should have the confidence to come back to us for support. And as parents, we should continue engaging them on the things that happen daily with them when they go out. Let that communication be there. And most importantly for us, whilst doing this, we should remain very, very calm and supportive. It's difficult to do this, but when we practice it, we'll get there. There are parental controls on the devices that we hand over, on the iPad, on the iPhone, on the Android phones, the Pixel, the tablets. There are parental controls on the laptops. All the operating system, the Windows operating system, the Mac OS operating systems, they have parental controls on them. Let's go through them, let's enable them. If we enable two-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication requires that when they are going to install any app or they are going to do anything, they need your consent. If you leave the two-factor authentication to them, then they are allowed to do anything. But to keep tabs, we should own the authentication. We should own the consent, so that if they need to install any app, as they click install, it comes up that, oh, you should enter or you need your parental consent before this app is installed. We should own it. We shouldn't leave it to them. We can only give it up when we think they are mature and adult enough to do that. There are a list of applications that I've listed here: TikTok, WhatsApp, Twitter, House Party, Facebook, YouTube. It's out there. But they are all not serving the purpose they are supposed to. For everything, there are downsides, as we all know. We should look at these applications that they are using. There is a security checklist for all these applications: WhatsApp, TikTok, Twitter, House Party, Instagram, YouTube. There are security checklists for them. I'll share a link that will guide you as to how to apply the security to them, even before you hand over those devices. So let's make them aware that as much as they want to use these applications or these platforms, they need to be careful about the things they do. And they need to ensure that all those security channels are enabled, so that it keeps them secure and also gives you a peace of mind. Then you can go further by coming to a sort of an understanding. In the workplace, we call it acceptable use. So as you make the rules that, oh, between when we are dining, you can't use your device. When we are visitors, you can't use your device. When you have that, you can't do that. It should be a sort of consent amongst you, so that everybody knows that during this time, we can't do this. During this time, our devices are sleeping. We can be online from maybe 6:30 in the evening to about 8:30 in the evening. After 8:30, that's it. Once we all agree, then there is a sort of like a check, a peer check on each of us, so that we all together, we can ensure the security of the devices we use and also be secure online. This can only be done when you've explained and communicated and also made them aware of the dangers that exist online. And the 10th point is also to ensure that they have a positive attitude online. Let them understand what they should do when they receive information that they are not so sure about. And also encourage them to encourage their friends to be positive when they are online. And also assure them that when they don't understand something, you are a source of information that you can help them with. And to be able to do that, you need to be a step ahead from time to time. Understand what they do, direct them to positive resources, and also for yourself, try and practice the things that you preach to them. And together, when they understand that you are concerned about their security, you are concerned about the things they need to do, then they are sure to come to you anytime there is an issue. The link below, internetmatters.org, parental controls, grants us access to a lot of information on all the social platforms, on all the devices, how to set up these parental controls, and also how to even restrict their use on the phones. And all these devices we use, Apple, iOS, Android from Google, the BlackBerry, which uses Android now, they all have all these features to ensure our privacy and safety online. Let us look at them and let us speak to our children. And I think together we can help them to be safe online. Once we are able to do that, this in a way also helps us in our workplaces because we are very conscious of the things we do. And since we are practicing them at home, it becomes easier when it is forced on us at the workplace. So I will end here. And if we have any questions, we can delve into them. Thank you all very much.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Ato. We will take a few minute break. We will come back to Q&A. Please use the Zoom icon and raise your hand, and we will call you to answer your questions. We will take a few seconds break and we will come back. When we come back, we will go through the Q&A. Welcome back to this evening's session. We'll be going to Q&A. May I remind you all that this event is put together with the support of the Ghana Nurses Association UK, the Western Region Nurses Association UK, Ghana Union, and the Nightingale Nurses Association. We also welcome the contribution and support from Ghana High Commission, Omega Live TV, IT Consortium for bringing us live, and obviously from our partner groups as well around UK, all the affiliate group. I've seen Ghana Union Harlow here. Hands up to Harlow for joining us all the time, and all the individual members joining us and keeping this program going all the weeks that we've been in existence. I am going to go through the Q&A, but before I do, I'm going to ask a few questions myself. So if we have our panelists on Spotlight, so we can interact with them directly. First question from me is going to Mr. Anamoah Mensah. How does the Chango relate to other apps that we utilize in sending money? So, you know, those of us in the diaspora, we have all the other platforms that goes on. Are you a transfer organizer? Is this app also another type of money transfer thing, or is it just something that can only be used in Ghana? I didn't quite catch that scenario.
All right, thank you. So Chango is not a money transfer application. It's a group app designed to let the members put money together. So in a way, it may seem like a remittance application, but it's not. Now, once you've created a, as I mentioned, the members of the group could be anywhere in the world. So you could be in the UK, and this group you've created your siblings who are in Ghana, probably one is in Japan. And you need to send money home for the renovation of, let's say, your family house. Now, Your sibling in Ghana is contributing to the group. You are contributing to the group. The one in Japan is also contributing to the group. And when you give instructions for the money to be cashed out in Ghana, all of you take the decision and vote for the money to be cashed out. So it's quite different from the remittance applications. In Chango, you can't just put in a destination to remit money. It's not designed for that. It's designed to put money together and then send that money out. Most of the remittance applications don't keep money within the ecosystem of the remittance application. It's sending straight from your bank account to the final destination. Yes, but Chango is designed to collect funds and then use the funds. The funds may be sent out or maybe even pushed into an investment, but it's not a remittance application, but it has the same effect. Yeah.
Okay. I did also hear you say that the money is held in the host country. So for instance, if I have a group here who want to support some child in northern region and they are donating £1 here, 20p here, that money is kept here or is it kept in Ghana?
It's immediately available in Ghana. So when you are contributing to a group in Ghana, you don't even contribute in pounds. You will be contributing in cedis. So if you want to contribute 1,000 cedis, you would enter 1,000 cedis and you'll be debited on your account the equivalent in pounds. Okay. So the group, whoever you are collecting this money for in Ghana has access to the money in Ghana the very moment you contribute.
What are the charges applicable for money being taken out? Because some of us, we send money through Momo to people and you pay to send in some platforms, and Momo also take 10 cedis per each 1,000 Ghana withdrawn. How does that work with Chango?
Okay, so when you are contributing to a group, the charges for the channel you are using apply. So if you are using card, there's usually a charge. If you're using mobile money, the network charge alone is what is applied. Now, when you are cashing out to a mobile wallet or to a bank account, there's no charge on that.
Right. Okay. I will get back to you again. How much information does one need to input? Let's say you've got a group of 10 people. Do they all have to put personal information into the Chango group to be able to make such donations? Or so one person can create it and they will just go in and put in like a mobile, some money chain that you just drop £1 there as and when? Or how is that going to work?
Well, when you're creating an account, we just need very little information on you. That is your name, your email address, and your phone number. Now, every group has administrators, a minimum of 2 administrators. The one who creates it is an administrator. That administrator or the administrators of the group must have additional KYC and usually will require a form of national ID to be provided as part of your setup. So you can create an account on Chango with just your email, your phone number, and your name. That's it. And you can contribute to a group. But once you want to play the role of an administrator, and in that case, be able to create a group and in that case, initiate cash out, then you'll be required to update your KYC. So all the members can have the basic KYC, which is just their email, phone, and name, and the administrators have to have the enhanced KYC with a national ID.
Is there a limit to how much a member of a group can put money, if that is the case? Because if they are not going to be given too much of the information, I'm suspecting that there will be some restriction on how much they can contribute to that group funding. Is that the case?
Yes, so there are limits for whether you are contributing by mobile money. You are constrained by the limits on mobile money as a standard KYC, a regular mobile money user. And for cards, if you're using cards, you are limited to 5,000 cedis per contribution. Now, the group can receive unlimited funds. So if you have a group with 100 users, members, and they are all contributing, let's say 5,000, there's no limit on that. But when you are cashing out, you would cash out limits based on the destination. So as you know, you can't send to a mobile wallet maybe more than 50,000 if it's a basic KYC. If it's a merchant wallet, then it can go a lot higher. And bank accounts typically don't have a limit. And so if you're cashing out a bank account, then you have access to cash all that out. Yes.
Was this app developed by IT Consortium itself, or is something you are marketing on behalf of another body?
It was developed by IT Consortium, and IT Consortium is also the one marketing it. Yes.
Right. Okay. I will come to you later on questions about IT Consortium later. But before I go to someone else, there's a chat room question that says, as a parent, I discovered 4 weeks ago that my daughter was coming up with fake profile and began chatting to grown-up men of 49, 59, various ages. I allowed her to use my email account, so I was able to see her receiving messages via my mobile phone use. I saw her create folder for her to receive messages without interrupting. I confiscated the computer and I spoke to her together with my sister. She's only 15 years old. I want to know what I can do with use of the computer safely. From now on, should I take the computer to a competent trained staff to set parental controls? Right, okay, I guess the person is trying to say, what should he do in this scenario, knowing that a daughter at 15 is obviously being trolled online by other risks that she's opening herself to? What would you advise, Mr. Yelson?
Okay, so I mean, the first step has been taken. The kids have been spoken to, and the communication lines have been established. Now, the next step is to secure the device itself. So if she can do it by herself, I advise that she do it by herself. I mean, if she has someone in-house who can do it. The other thing is when you take your computers to some of these trained people, it might end up with something else. But if you trust the source, then you can go in for the person to put in this parental controls. The link I've shared at the end of the presentation actually gives you a step-by-step guidelines as to what you can do on any device, on any application. You just choose the device. Say I'm using the Windows operating system, and to tell you the parental controls there. If I'm using Apple, it will tell you the parental controls there. If I'm using an iPhone, it will tell you the parental controls that you can set. If you are using TikTok, WhatsApp, it will tell you what you need to do there step by step. So I think the first thing has been done. Communication has been established. The ground rules have been established. The device can now be secured. There are also internet routers that, apart from what the service provider gives you, drops in your house. You can set up a Wi-Fi link in your house with some of these routers that have built-in parental controls, so that at the source of the internet, where they get their internet from, the parental controls are set there. So that once they are on your Wi-Fi, then they are secured. But the downside is once they decide to use mobile data, then they are open to the telecommunications, the networks. The networks have opened them up for them to do everything. So you need to secure the devices as well.
Thank you very much. And on that note, what are some of the common ways of falling prey to fraudsters online? What are the common ways that we all, become somehow victims online? What are some of the suggestive ways that you know of that you can educate us on?
Okay, so I'll first start with what's happening on WhatsApp, where maybe an administrator's account is compromised, And then people come in with all sorts of deals and suggestions that they want group members to contribute to. There is one basic rule for online safety. You ask yourself the question, what does this person want me to do?
Right.
Once that question comes up, then you start thinking through about what the person actually wants. Because if the person places the advert there and says, let's contribute 10,000, 10,000, 10,000 to a good cause. The person wants you to contribute, but do you know where the money is going? So you need to probe further when these things come up. And there are some of us who actually click on anything that appears on our screens. You've won $100 million lottery. It pops up. And click OK to receive your cash. You've not staked the lottery. Even when you staked, you know the amount that was on offer at that period. So why click OK? So the question is, what do you want me to do? And then you look at the pros and cons of what the person wants you to do. Right. And the other thing is, some of them are, you realize in the long run that some of them string you along. They string you along because they've read your profile. Some of them go to the extent of getting to know where you attended primary school, where you attended your secondary school, university, the things that you do, where your child goes to school. And they because they know that you've shared all these things, you've tweeted these things. I just drop off my kids from school. Here is myself and my kids getting down. Then you tweet it and you post a picture. You go to Facebook and you put it there. So people online, people can pick a profile and start a conversation with you. And when that trust is built, they look at the most vulnerable points and then.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. No, thank you. There's a chat room question for Ebo. Once the group chat is created and used for the purpose of donating to a cause, can the group be dormant for how long? And could it be used in the future, example, a year later or thereafter?
Yes. So you could liken it to WhatsApp. If you create a group with friends and after a week of activity, you stop chatting and go to sleep for 2 years and come back, you still find a group there. So in the same way, the group will remain. It won't go away. So if you create a group for a particular purpose and you don't use it again for a year and want to come back and utilize it, it's there for you to use. Yes.
Right. Okay. Mr. Ato, how can parents monitor their children's activity online? What are the tips? What are the signals that will make you want to monitor a child? And secondly, what are the age limits that you find it necessary for a parent to continue monitoring their child? Or what will be the recommended age before you become abusive to some extent, or intrusive, if I would say?
As long as you are their parents. And
right.
I think once they get to 17, 18, and they are able to take decisions by themselves, that is when you've established that friendship and you can talk to them about almost anything at that level. And by then they know the consequences of what the do's and don'ts are about some of these things. So there are telltales that you should look out for. The most obvious is they bringing up another screen as soon as you pass by them. And The other thing is when you find them being secluded most of the time, when they get home from school or when they get back home from town, they just go and sit somewhere or even in their rooms. Anytime you open the door to say hi or even ask them a question, they turn the phone. Those are, when you see some of these signs, you need to start engaging them.
Right.
You need to start asking them some of these questions.
I see. So in a scenario where, and I heard you mention talking about consent. If your child, we live in a world where some children at some point believe that it's their property, and trying to block them becomes a family rift. How does that work? Especially from the ages of 14, 15, 16,
yeah.
When you really telling them that it's difficult. I mean, especially in this part of the world. And I'm sure that part of the world where we come from is the same, but here is much more prevalent that your child will tell you it's my phone, even though you bought it for them. How do you go about seeking their consent in this scenario?
So we realize on some of these phones, as soon as you specify the child's age as 14, the software on the phone automatically thinks the child doesn't need parental control, and you need to manually set up these options. If you leave it to do that automatically, then it will assume a 14-year-old child has all the reasons to be responsible. So then it's not. Now, with the issue of they being the owners of the phones, you've given it to them, so they are the owners of the phone, right? But before you give it to them, you should have set up these options. The other thing is, after engaging them, you also then put the restrictions at the source. It's their phones, but you buy the data, you buy the internet, you buy the credit, and you do everything for them so that their use is comfortable. So that they need to understand that, well, it's your phone, I gave it to you, but as long as I continue to buy data and continue to buy credits for you, I need to understand what you use that device for. I think Ebo would like to add something as well.
Yeah, let me share my personal experience. Well, I guess we all have had this experience of leaving home and going to boarding school. Probably some of us have. There's this sense of freedom. You could do anything you want. You're no longer under your parents' supervision. And that's how it is when we police the children on the internet. When I started with my kids, giving them access, I use the tools that I talked about. So if they want to download an app, I'll get a notice to authorize. If they want to go to a certain website that the system has blocked, I'll get a notice if they request to go ahead, and we'll talk about it. Now, my aim is not necessarily to just create the barriers, but to help them understand the dangers. Because the truth is, once they leave, once they get to that age where you can no longer police, they are at the mercy of all the vices out there. And so they need to be equipped to know the dangers of getting involved in any of these vices. And they are very enticing. I mean, the video we watched is a typical example. Without that child or supported child making any advances or anything like that, it was getting people interested in contacting her. And the same thing, when you put a machine on the internet, in a short time, it gets attacked, it gets infected with viruses. So they must know why they shouldn't go to certain sites, why they shouldn't chat with certain people, so on and so forth. For my younger kids, I actually specify the people they can chat with. And so I don't worry too much when they're using the device, because I know that if they try to chat with someone or someone's trying to chat with them who is not in the white list I've created, then I'll get a notice, or they will not be allowed to do that. So as we police, we need to teach so that they don't leave home feeling that they have freedom and now they can go to all the places you said they shouldn't go to, and that they'll be wise in making those choices. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you. While you're there, Mr. Mensah, there's a chat room comment saying, isn't it IT consortium using the group money like a bank until it is given rather than until it's given away? So IT consortium should rather be paying interest rather than charging the group on, I believe, on cashing out or something. Do you share the same view? Because say, for instance, you have a group, then the process of generating money is taking them a year, but in the course of a year, they've been putting hundreds and hundreds of pounds in the account, which is held by you. Do you think this person has a fair question or concern?
Oh, yes, this is a very fair question and fair concern. But I'll just make the point again that we do not charge for cashing out money from the group. I mentioned that there are charges on the method you use. So if you're using mobile money, and I believe everybody knows in Ghana at the moment, mobile money charges 1% with a cap. That's the same thing you would pay when you're doing a contribution on Chango. So you can imagine that's a network charge. The same with card, and that's the charge. Now, it's a brilliant point, the fact that money is sitting there, and so they should get interest. Gaining interest on your deposits is a feature that will be coming within the first quarter of next year. Now, the funds are not actually held by IT consortium, it's held by a bank, according to the regulations that are given by the central bank. So it's not money we play with. It's money that is held in trust. So when the instructions come for cashing out, then the funds are then transferred to the destination you have specified. So we'll be having an investment component for those who want to keep their funds a bit longer, a term investment, which will give good returns. And that will be available directly in the app as well for the group to take a decision that, yes, we want to push X amount into this investment and get returns. Yeah, so that will be coming first quarter of next year.
Right, thank you. Mr. Yosin, what is cybersecurity? We've heard this very big word, cybersecurity. Cybersecurity. I'm sure you would have gone through some of them. Could you please share some light on that topic or that word for those?
Okay, so when you talk about anything cyber, is anything happening in the internet world, anything that has a sort of digital connotation to it. So when we speak about cybersecurity, we are looking at securing ourselves online or securing ourselves whilst doing anything on the internet related is termed cyber.
Right. I see. Okay. But there's a chat room question. Please, can I check with people my children are chatting with by being able to hack their password on their phone? Right. What do I say? If you want to hack your children's phone, I don't know. Well, will you go for it?
So I think most of the time, most parents are tempted to do that and try to find out the phone, and then it becomes a cat and mouse issue. You pick up the phone and just getting the password when your child leaves the phone a little bit, and when he's coming, you don't want him to know he knows your password or anything, so you put the phone down. I think the the best approach will be to let your child know the consequences of using the device. Secondly, if you want to know what the sort of chats he has, there's the option, depending on the device that he uses, for you to restrict the people he chats with, your child chats with, and you getting the consent as to when he adds new friends or not. There is also the other option, which I think most of them are open to ask and know, oh, who are your friends? Whom are you chatting with? So if you have an idea of the type of friends they have, and then when I ask, are you chatting with Kofi? Or whom are you chatting with when he says Kofi? Which of the Kofis? You know who he's chatting with. As to knowing the content of what they are chatting about, it's also okay to ask. And if they are hiding anything, there's a temptation to say, hey, bring your device, let me check who you are chatting with. But hacking, as they know that you are trying to get their password the wrong way, then the cat and mouse games will continue. So I think you should please engage your child and try to understand the sort of chat he has with his friends.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Anamwa Mensah, could you please give me a brief information about IT Consortium as a company? What do you do? What are your main areas of specialty? What are your client base? What sort of things do you do for clients who want to engage with you from a wider perspective, other than just the Chango app that you've told us about?
All right, so IT Consortium started first providing solutions for higher education institutions, so enterprise solutions to manage the students' life cycle within the higher education institutions. Then we got into payments, and so we are currently a payment aggregator. We are a licensed payment service provider by the central bank. And just to highlight a little bit on that, so basically any company that needs to collect money from its customers electronically, we provide the solutions that do that, or the connections, the APIs that enable that to happen. We also build solutions, vertical solutions in the financial space, so solutions to, especially for the informal sector, to enable savings, pensions, virtually everything within that space, whether it's investments, so on and so forth, and means by which people can use the current tools that we have, mobile money, the web, walking into the bank to make payments, whether you're paying taxes to government, or paying school fees, or paying for your pay TV, or paying your property rates. Those are the solutions that we build and deploy. We currently operate in Ghana, Kenya, Liberia, and soon in Zambia. And there are a number of countries we've earmarked for next year. We work with well over 2,000 merchants, and we serve over 10 million clients, unique clients in a year. And these are clients who are paying for all sorts of services on our platform for the merchants that we provide these services for. So if I can't list the number of solutions, they are in the hundreds. And so I hope this gives a good idea of what we do. Yeah.
Thank you. I have a comment here. Are there more information to read about this group, Chango, for money collection? A website or link to share with other groups will be good. So I guess you can, after this, either share it on the chat room, or if you let me have some of the links, we can push it through our groups who might have a need for it. I know there are a lot of community groups here who do a lot of activities in Ghana. They probably will help them a lot in their mobilization efforts. So hopefully we can do that. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to let you know that from today, we will be here till the 24th of December. Today's session will end and our next session will be on 24th December. It's themed as Focus on Ghana. And the idea is to hold a Christmas Eve special, a town hall style meeting with the Ghana High Commissioner to the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland. His Excellency Papa Usu Ankuma will join us on the 24th to answer all questions from highs to lows of the Ghanaian community here, and any question you want to know about Ghana as we prepare to head towards the new year. So I invite all of you to send a message to your friends and family, those who have all the questions about passport, visa, national identity card, anything to do with the Ghana High Commission. Your chance will be on the 24th. And so we are going to promote it as wide as possible from today, 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks, so that we will get all of you to come and listen to him. It's a town hall meeting, an interaction, question and answer session, and you will have your chance as much as possible with the Ghana High Commissioner to the Court of St. James. Thank you. We will take a second break and then we'll come back for one or two few questions and we'll round up. Welcome back. We are on Q&A sessions at this point on the issue of online security and inclusion. I have one or two questions for the panelists tonight. Right. Somebody sending us a question that says, why do I need to worry about information security? Why do I need to worry about information security? Why should somebody bother at all about the information that goes about them or in the public domain? And number two, I did hear you say that every information you share online or in the public space or in the virtual world stays there. So if you have a video call, which is not recorded, does that also get stored somehow with your video call with somebody? Or how does that work? Mr. Yossi.
Okay. Yes. So one, why should I be worried about information security? In the first place, what am I doing? What am I involved in? What systems do I interact with? Why is there the need for all these privacy issues, ensuring that the information we share is kept safe? Do I worry about my medical records when I go to the hospital? Do I worry about what they can use it for? Do I worry about insurance companies profiling this information that I share with them? Do I worry about what I do on the internet? Do I worry when I go to the office, when I try to access a site, I'm restricted from accessing those sites? The issue is the systems you are in an environment that you mostly don't control. And the things you do in that environment matters. And the things you leave behind also matter. I mentioned that everything you do leaves a footprint. And that if you upload your CV, if you scan your picture and send it to someone, what you should also understand is that it's not like you walk into the person's house and saying, this is a letter I wrote to you. I'm emailing it. I don't control the servers that the emails go through. I don't control the networks that the email go through. I'm doing a video call. Am I the one controlling that communication? That link has been established. That you should see my face, I should see your face. Right now, we are working with Zoom. We say we are not recording. We trust that they are not recording because they've given us the assurance that they are not recording, and there are bodies that ensure that they are not recording. But it's on their service. It's on their service, and they have backup procedures, and they have restore procedures. So what is the surety? Though we say we are not recording it, what's the surety that they are not recording it? So we should be concerned about some of these things, but not to be so much paranoid about them. Otherwise, we won't live a full life.
I see. I see. So if you find out that by mistake, you have shared personal information to sources that you later deemed unsafe, what do you do?
So
say you have an advert playing on your phone, you get interested, you click, and they answer your name, your date of birth. Before you realize, you've actually gone very far. And then by the time you actually get yourself out of it, you've given away some information. What do you do after that?
So I mentioned earlier that there are rules on some of these sites we visit, and there is room made for recourse when some of these things happen. So you should check if you go to Facebook, if you go to Instagram, if you go to most of the social networks, there is an abuse email address.
Right.
That anytime you realize that there is something that you've done, you can send an email to them. The aim of what you are doing is not in a way, because what you've done, that information has gone already. It is only the aware that will tell you that, we are telling you that we've erased that information from our systems. That gives you, the legal proof if you find it somewhere else. But It usually comes with a caveat that says that, during transmission, it might have gone through other servers before it got to us. And we are not responsible for the information that was left on those servers.
Right.
So there is always a channel for communication to express some of these things. But the fact of the matter is you can't erase it all.
I see. Thank you very much. At this point, I would like to say thank you for IT Consortium for bringing this live to us. We also want to thank the High Commission for endorsing this program, Ghana Nurses Association for partnering with us, Ghana Union, the Western Nurses Association UK, and the Nightingale Nurses. Also mentioning Ghana Union Harlow for their continued support and partnership, and all the individuals who are here with us. As I mentioned earlier, on the 24th of December will be our last session for this year, and we will have the pleasure of hosting the High Commissioner, His Excellency Papa Owusu Ankrumah, on a town hall style meeting where he will engage us on all fronts about any issues you have outstanding this year that you want to talk to him about. I encourage all of you to join us. Can I invite my panelists for your closing statement, please? Any closing statement on the topics that you have addressed with us? I guess today my audience have been very, very kind, and there is not much hands up today, but there's been a few questions on the chat room, and we thank them for sending those earlier questions as well through.
All right, so thank you for the opportunity. One reason why we even chose to introduce Chango to your audience is because we know each of them most likely has family back home that they do contributions with to help folks back home. And so we believe that Chango is the platform for which you can do this. It gives you, like I mentioned, the transparency you need, and it gives you the control that you typically would not have if you are just simply remitting money to someone and giving instructions for that person to utilize the money. With Chango, you can have control to do that. You can put the money there, and as the money is used, you can specify what it's to be used for, send it directly to the one who's supposed to utilize it, so that we get rid of these issues of people sending money and then it being misapplied for other purposes. And so we're inviting all of you, go to the site. I shared it in the chat. Download the app and experience it. You could try it with your old folks back home or younger family members and see how that works for you. And I believe you would enjoy it. So we look forward to seeing you in the Chango universe. And there are a lot of things coming next year that we'll have time to introduce you to. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson, before there's one chat room question from a very dear friend and a sister, Sari, saying also, should you be concerned about the information you share online because people tend to steal your identity and use it for fraud or illegal activities? In your closing statement, I want you to address that chat room one as well, please. Thank you.
Yes, I think all in all, as we all use devices, we should be concerned about how secure we can use those devices and what information we leave on those devices. The internet is a huge place, as we all know. It has all sorts of information, all sorts of things. And the basic rule for me is to read anything that pops up on the internet before I click OK or cancel. So if we make it a habit of understanding and reading what pops up, no matter how small the window might be, it helps us in keeping safe online. We should also ensure that even as we communicate with people, we should have a sense when they are trying to probe unnecessarily, trying to get more information about you. And in answer to the question, yes. Once you leave that information online, there is the likelihood that someone else might pick it up and assume your identity for other things. But all in all, the internet is also a useful place that we find resources from. And also, it's also a useful place that our kids learn good things from. We should try and balance the way they use the internet. And with the advent of COVID, it has become more necessary that they do most of their work online. So as much as possible, when doing parental controls, and most of the schools use learning platforms, the Google Workspace, the Google School, and the Microsoft School application, they have learning platforms. So in putting up our parental controls, we should ensure that we ask them what platforms they use in school and also allow them. There are places that we can whitelist them. But let's just be conscious of the things we do online. Thank you all.
Thank you. And I think it would be fair to say that we all have responsibility to take control of the things we do online. It's important that whatever you are clicking, you know what you are clicking. I do get a lot of emails. Oh, I am a bank manager in Saudi Arabia, and I'm seeing your email, and I am a dying person. I have billions in my account, and I'm looking for somebody I can trust. As soon as you see those emails, just block the sender. Just keep blocking it, because otherwise it will not stop. On that note, I would like to thank my audience for being through with us tonight, and most importantly, the panelists from IT Consortium for being with us this evening. It's been an interesting one, and I do invite all of you to rejoin us again on the Christmas Eve special on 24th of December, Friday, with His Excellency Papa Osu Ankomah. Have a good evening, a restful weekend, and stay safe all, and be well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.